Lily Carter stepped carefully onto the polished floor of the Hall of Crowns. The hall was enormous, stretching higher than any building she had seen on Earth. Light shimmered from crystal chandeliers hanging like frozen stars. Alien banners with strange symbols swayed gently above, their colors glowing faintly in the warm light. Lily's heart pounded in her chest, and her palms were damp. She had never imagined she would be here, standing among leaders of worlds she had only read about in reports. The gathering of clans was an event humans were not often invited to, and yet she had been sent, because Earth had promised a small contribution to the Varian Council's defense forces. As she walked, the hall seemed to grow colder. Every pair of eyes turned toward her. The aliens were tall, muscular, and frightening in their size, with skin of every shade of blue, green, and silver. Some had scales, some had feathers, and some had no visible hair at all. Their eyes were larger than humans, glimmering in gold and violet. Even though they had all been polite and courteous during the initial greeting, Lily sensed that many of them were judging her silently. She felt very small. She wanted to run back to the transport ship, but she knew she could not. The council's ruling required that every visitor be given a mate, a bond that could not be broken, unless the ruler of Varian decided otherwise. The thought terrified her. She had heard stories of humans who had been paired with aliens against their will. Some had survived, some had disappeared. The council's decisions were final, and the consequences for defiance could be severe. Lily took a deep breath, telling herself to stay calm. At the center of the hall stood the Alpha King, Alden Reese. He was taller than anyone else, with dark hair and eyes that seemed to see everything at once. There was a quiet power about him, a sense that he could bend the room to his will with just a glance. Humans respected strength, but this was more than strength, it was command, and he commanded it effortlessly. Lily felt her legs shake slightly as she approached him. She was meant to wait for her assigned mate, Draxon Vale, a warrior whose reputation made her stomach churn. Draxon stepped forward as Lily approached the king. His movements were precise and predatory, like a hunter circling prey. Lily could feel the tension in the hall rising. The council members murmured among themselves. Draxon's expression was cold, and his eyes locked onto hers. Lily's mind raced. She could not go to him. She could not let him touch her. Something inside her screamed that she needed protection. And there was only one person here who could give it. Without thinking, Lily walked past Draxon. She moved closer to Alden Reese, the Alpha King himself. All eyes followed her, and a silence fell over the hall. People gasped, whispering behind their hands. This had never happened before. The council would not approve. It was against every rule they had ever set. Lily ignored the whispers. She ignored the fear that gripped her. She climbed carefully onto Alden's lap, her hands gripping the sides of his robes. The hall seemed to hold its breath. Alden did not move immediately. His eyes widened slightly in surprise, but only for a moment. Then he reached out and gently placed an arm around her waist. His touch was firm but calm, a silent promise of safety. "She stays here," he said softly, his voice low and controlled. His words were enough to stop the murmurs in the hall. Draxon froze, anger and confusion flashing across his face. No one had ever defied the council so openly before, and certainly no one had chosen the king over their assigned mate. "King Alden," Draxon said, his voice sharp and trembling slightly, "she belongs to me. The council chose her." "You cannot. I will not let him touch you," Alden interrupted, his voice calm but with an edge that made the room even quieter. She made her choice. Lily felt her heart leap at the words. She had not spoken a word, but Alden understood her completely. She buried her face in his chest, feeling safe for the first time since she had arrived on Varian. The warmth of his body, the quiet power that radiated from him, made her feel protected in a way she could not explain. The council members looked at each other, shocked. A few whispered quickly, but no one dared to speak aloud. They had rules, but no one could ignore the Alpha King. Alden was the ultimate authority, and even the council had to respect him. Draxon's fist clenched. He looked ready to lunge, but Alden's hand rested lightly on her back, and Draxon hesitated. "I did not ask to be chosen," Lily whispered, almost to herself. Her voice trembled. I just don't want to be his. Alden's hand tightened slightly, reassuringly. I know, he said softly, and you will not be. The hall was tense. Soldiers shifted uneasily. Aliens leaned closer to see what would happen next. And the council tried to regain control of the situation. Lily felt the weight of the moment pressing down on her. She could not move, could not speak, could only sit on Alden's lap and hope that he would protect her. Draxon finally spoke again, his voice low and dangerous. You cannot protect her forever, King. The council will enforce the law. She is mine by right. Alden looked at him without fear. The law does not force someone to be harmed, he said, and I will not allow it. She chooses. Lily's chest tightened with relief. She had never known anyone would stand up for her like this. The fear that had gripped her since she left Earth slowly began to ease. She looked up at Alden, catching a brief glimpse of a small smile at the corner of his lips. There was no arrogance there, no cruelty, only calm authority. Draxon's eyes narrowed. He turned sharply and stalked back toward the edge of the hall, muttering threats under his breath. The council tried to whisper orders, but none of their words could reach Alden's ear. He had already made his decision. Lily was under his protection, and no one could change that. Lily hugged herself slightly, still sitting on his lap. She could feel the muscles in his arm, strong and steady. It was a strange sensation, feeling so small yet so safe. She had never imagined that an alien king could make her feel this way. Yet here she was, on his lap, and she realized something deep inside her. She trusted him completely. A guard stepped forward, quietly taking Draxon's place at the far end of the hall. Alden's gaze swept over the room, sharp and precise. If anyone attempts to touch her or harm her, they will answer to me, he said. His voice was calm, but the authority behind it made even the council members tense for a moment. Lily wondered what would happen next. Would the council challenge him? Would Draxon return with soldiers? She could not know, and she could not act. All she could do was sit there, hoping Alden would continue to protect her. You are safe, Alden said, almost as if he could read her mind. I will not let anyone hurt you. The words echoed in the vast hall, simple but powerful. For the first time since arriving on WarZone, Lily felt a glimmer of hope. She no longer felt alone. She no longer felt trapped by the rules of a world that seemed impossible to understand. Here, on the lap of the Alpha King, she had a chance to survive and perhaps more. The council finally began to murmur again, trying to regain control. But no one dared approach too closely. Alden's decision had changed everything. The room felt different now, charged with a new energy. Whispers spread quickly, some in admiration, some in anger. But everyone knew that no one could argue with the king. Lily closed her eyes for a moment, letting herself breathe. The hall was still tense, but she could feel Alden's steady heartbeat beneath her hands. It was strong and sure, a promise that she would not face the dangers of this world alone. As the light of the twin moons outside the hall's enormous windows shifted, Lily realized that her life had changed forever. She had no idea what awaited her on WarZone, what dangers or challenges she would face. But she knew one thing with certainty: as long as Alden was by her side, she had a chance, and for the first time since she left Earth, Lily smiled. The morning light crept through the tall windows of the Hall of Crowns, painting the floor in soft gold. Lily Carter still felt the warmth of Alden's protection from the day before. She had spent the night in a private chamber near the king, guarded by soldiers who seemed more like shadows than people, quiet and watchful. Every time she thought of Draxon Vale, her stomach tightened, but Alden's presence gave her courage. She knew she was safe, at least for now. Alden entered the chamber quietly, his steps silent on the polished floor. He did not speak at first, only looked at her with steady eyes. Lily noticed a faint tension in his face, the same tension she had seen on the battlefield reports. He was a king, but he also carried the burden of protecting many lives. Her heart ached slightly for him, knowing that his responsibility was immense. And yet he had chosen to protect her, a human, above all else. Good morning, Lily said softly. Her voice trembled, but she tried to sound normal. I didn't mean to cause trouble yesterday. Alden shook his head slightly. You did what you had to do. You chose safety. That is not trouble. His hand brushed her arm briefly, reassuring, almost casual. Draxonvale will not touch you as long as I am here. Lily nodded, but a part of her still felt nervous. But he will come for me. I know he will. The council might force him to act. Alden's jaw tightened. Then we prepare. You will stay here, and I will make sure no harm comes to you. I will not let the council or Draxon decide your fate for the first time. Lily felt hope that went beyond mere safety. She realized that Alden was not only powerful, but also fair. He had a code, and he followed it. She had heard of kings who rule with fear and cruelty. But Alden's strength was different. It was calm, protective, human in a way she could understand later. Guards brought breakfast to the chamber, placing plates of food on a low table. Lily ate slowly, still nervous, while Alden observed her quietly. His attention was not intrusive. It was careful, like he was learning who she was without forcing her to speak. You should rest more. Alden said finally, you will need your strength. Draxon will not give up easily. I'm not sure I can fight him, Lily admitted. I'm just human. Alden smiled faintly, but it did not reach his eyes. You are human. That is exactly why you matter. Strength is not always in muscle or weapon. Sometimes it is in courage, in choosing the right path when it is hard. You have that, Lily. She looked up at him, startled. You think I have courage? I know you do, he replied. You came to me instead of him. That took more courage than most of the council members could ever show. Lily felt a flush of warmth. No one had ever spoken to her like that, treating her as more than a small human among giants. For a moment, she imagined a life where she could make choices and not just follow orders. But the reality was waiting outside the chamber doors. The first message came just before midday. A council messenger entered quickly, bowing deeply. Your Majesty, he said, voice tight, Draxonvale has gathered a group of loyal soldiers. He demands that the council enforce the mate ruling and bring the human back. Alden's eyes darkened. How many? Approximately 30, sir. He claims they are armed and ready to act immediately. Alden nodded once. Prepare the hall for defense. Move Lily to the safest chamber. Send word to Evan Brooks and the human trained guards. No one leaves or enters without my command. The messenger left quickly, and Alden turned to Lily. We cannot remain passive. Draxon is dangerous, and he will act soon. You must be ready to stay hidden if necessary. I don't want to hide, Lily said, her voice shaking. I want to help, somehow. Alden studied her for a long moment. You can. By staying safe, you help more than you realize. Every life I protect, every move I make, counts. You will be my priority. Later, Lily was escorted to a hidden chamber within the palace. It was smaller than the main rooms but comfortable. Soft lights glowed from panels built into the walls, and a window looked out over the palace grounds. She could see the alien soldiers patrolling outside, their weapons ready. It was strange and frightening, yet she felt a sense of security she had never known. Evan Brooks, a human officer trained in combat, entered the chamber shortly after. He was tall and sturdy, with a calm presence that immediately put Lily at ease. Don't worry, he said. We've got your back. You'll be safe. Lily nodded. Thank you. I just hope this works. It will, Evan replied. You're with the king. That's all the protection you need. Meanwhile, outside the chamber, Alden gathered his closest allies. They were a mix of humans and aliens who had sworn loyalty to him, each trained in combat and strategy. The plan was simple but dangerous: defend the hall, protect Lily, and prevent Draxon from taking any action without being seen. Alden moved through the hall silently, checking each guard's position. His presence was commanding, and the soldiers straightened as he passed. Every corner, every hallway was covered. He knew Draxon would not wait long before making his move. Hours passed, and Lily tried to distract herself by looking out the window. The palace grounds were quiet, but she sensed something moving in the shadows. Her heart skipped a beat, and she turned toward the door instinctively. Evan was there, watching her closely. "He's scouting," he said quietly. "Draxon wants to know what we are doing." "Don't worry, he won't find you." Lily shivered but nodded. "I wish I could do more." "You are doing more than you know," Evan replied. "Trust Alden. He's the only reason you're alive and safe right now." As evening approached, the tension in the palace grew. A message arrived from Draxon, delivered by a small drone. The message was clear: surrender Lily or face consequences. Alden read it quietly, then looked at Lily. "They are trying to scare us," he said softly. "Do not be afraid. They will not succeed." The night fell, and the palace became a fortress. Soldiers patrolled the halls, shields raised, weapons ready. Lily stayed in the hidden chamber, heart racing every time she heard footsteps nearby. She tried to sleep, but the fear of Draxon's next move kept her awake. Suddenly, a shadow moved near the chamber door. Lily froze, and Evan appeared immediately, raising his weapon. "It's okay," he whispered. "I've got it." Alden entered moments later, his presence calming. "Draxon's men are testing us," he said. "They will not succeed." "We are ready." Lily looked at him, awed. She had never met anyone like him. He was not just strong. He was smart, patient, and kind. The combination made her feel safe, and the fear that had consumed her since arriving on Varian slowly began to fade. They stayed in the chamber for hours, speaking quietly. Alden asked her about Earth, her life, and her work. Lily was surprised that she could speak freely, without fear of judgment. She told him about her family, her dreams, and her fears. Alden listened, never interrupting, only asking gentle questions that made her feel seen. By midnight, the first real attack came. Draxon soldiers had tried to breach the outer walls, testing the palace's defenses. Alarms sounded, and soldiers rushed to their positions. Lily huddled behind a reinforced wall, Evan beside her, ready to defend. Alden appeared at the doorway, his presence immediately halting the chaos. "Stay calm," he said to Lily. "We will handle this." The battle was brief but intense. Alden moved with precision, directing human and alien soldiers alike. His voice carried authority, and his plan worked. Draxon's men were repelled without reaching Lily. She watched in awe as Alden moved, commanding, protecting, and ensuring no harm came to her. After the attack, Lily felt a mix of fear and admiration. She had never imagined someone could be so powerful and controlled. Alden returned to the hidden chamber, placing a steady hand on her shoulder. "You see," he said softly, "you are safe. No one will touch you." Lily smiled faintly, tears of relief in her eyes. She knew that the days ahead would be difficult, but she also knew that she was not alone. Alden had chosen to protect her, and in a world that had seemed cold and dangerous, she finally felt warmth, safety, and hope. The night continued with quiet preparation. Alden stayed nearby, ensuring Lily was never alone, teaching her to trust, and showing her that courage came in many forms. Lily realized that she had made the right choice. Sitting on the Alpha King's lap had not only saved her, it had begun to change her, giving her strength she had never known she possessed. And as the twin moons shone over the palace, Lily understood that the battle for her safety was only the beginning, and that with Alden by her side, she had a chance to survive, fight, and perhaps, in time, thrive on the world of Varian. The next morning, the palace felt tense, though it was quiet. Lily Carr woke early, her mind still racing from the attack the night before. Even though Alden had protected her, she could not stop imagining Draxon and his men waiting outside, planning their next move. She had never been in a situation like this before. On Earth, danger was distant, something that happened in movies or stories. Here, it was real and close, and she felt it pressing against her every step. Alden entered the chamber as the sun rose. His expression was serious, though calm. "Rest is important," he said softly. "You will need energy if Draxon tries anything again." "I can't rest," Lily admitted, rubbing her arms. "I keep thinking about him, about what he might do." Alden nodded. "That is normal. Fear is natural, but it can be used as strength if you let it. You are stronger than you realize." Lily looked at him, her heart tightening. There was a quiet power in his presence, a sense that nothing could harm her while he was near. She realized that part of her relief yesterday had been because she trusted him completely. It was strange and unfamiliar, but it made her feel safe outside the chamber. The palace was already awake with activity. Soldiers moved in disciplined patterns, checking walls, doors, and patrols. Evan Brooks arrived to accompany Lily through a small corridor to the main observation deck. He explained quietly, "We have doubled the patrols and set up hidden alarms. Draxon will find it very hard to get close now." Lily nodded, her stomach still tight. I don't want anyone to get hurt because of me. You are not a burden," Evan said firmly. "The king chose to protect you. That makes you important. That also means we are all ready to defend you. That includes humans and aliens alike. We do this together." As they moved toward the observation deck, Lily noticed how vast the palace grounds were. Alien soldiers trained in formation she had never seen, moving with precision and skill. Strange machines glided quietly across the floors, carrying supplies and weapons. The scale of the place was overwhelming, but at the same time, it made her feel small in a way that reminded her of the importance of every decision she made here. On the observation deck, Alan was already reviewing the security reports. He looked up as Lily and Evan arrived, his gaze steady and reassuring. "Good," he said. "You are awake. We have new information. Draxon has allies within the council who are sympathetic to him. They might try to create a distraction." Lily frowned. "Allies? You mean some council members want to hurt me?" Alden nodded. "Some see humans as weak. They believe that laws and tradition must be followed above all. That is why they will test our defenses. But we are ready." Her stomach tightened, but Lily felt a strange determination growing inside her. She realized that even though she was human and small compared to these aliens, she had already made a choice to act. She had chosen to sit on Alden's lap yesterday, and that choice had changed everything. Now, she understood that she would have to trust him and also try to be brave. Hours passed, and the quiet was broken by a sudden alarm. Lights flashed, and a low hum echoed through the hallways. Lily's heart jumped, and Evan quickly moved to shield her. "Stay close," he whispered. "We don't know what's happening yet." Alden appeared almost immediately, moving with quiet speed and authority. "It's a reconnaissance team," he said. "They are probing the palace's outer defenses. Stay inside. You will not need to face them." Lily felt her palms sweat as the sounds of distant footsteps and mechanical whirring grew louder. She could feel the building shake slightly as some machines struck the walls outside. Though the soldiers moved efficiently, Lily realized how dangerous it could be if the attackers were determined. "Why won't they give up?" she asked, voice trembling. "They are desperate," Alden said quietly, kneeling beside her. "Draxon is desperate. He cannot accept that you chose safety. That is why he will test us again and again. But we are stronger together." The reconnaissance team withdrew after a tense hour, leaving the palace intact. Lily exhaled, feeling some relief, but she also realized that this was only the beginning. The palace had been tested, and it had survived. But what would happen when Draxon himself acted directly? Alden stayed nearby, guiding Lily and teaching her to observe the palace defenses. "Knowledge is as important as courage," he said. "Watch carefully. Learn the exits, the hiding places, the safe areas. Even small actions can make a difference." Lily listened intently, feeling a growing sense of purpose. For the first time since arriving, she felt that she could play a role, even if small. She would not just be a passive passenger in this dangerous world. As night fell, a more serious attempt came. Draxon himself appeared at the edge of the palace grounds, accompanied by a small team of elite soldiers. They moved in silence, testing the perimeter defenses and looking for weaknesses. The palace sensors detected them immediately. Alden moved quickly, positioning his forces for a counteraction. "They will not reach you," he told Lily, taking her hand gently. "You must stay calm." Lily nodded, clinging to his hand. She could feel the tension building, but she also felt the strength in his calm. She realized that courage was not about fearlessness, it was about trusting the right people. and standing firm even when the world was dangerous. The battle was brief but sharp. Draxon's team tried to breach the palace walls, but Alden had anticipated their moves. Human and alien soldiers worked together, cutting off every approach. Lily watched from a secure chamber, heart racing, as Alden coordinated the defense. Every command he gave was precise, every decision deliberate. When the attackers were finally repelled, Lily felt a mixture of relief and awe. Alden had protected her and every person in the palace. She realized that he was not just a king. He was a protector, a leader who acted for others without hesitation. After the attack, Alden returned to the chamber where Lily was waiting. His expression was calm, but his eyes held the intensity of someone who had faced danger and won. "They will not succeed as long as I am here," he said softly. "And you will not be harmed." Lily looked at him, feeling her heart swell. I trust you," she said quietly. "Completely." Alden's hand brushed her arm, reassuring and gentle. "You should. That trust is not misplaced." The next days passed in a tense rhythm. The council tried smaller disruptions, sending messages, rumors, and minor attacks to test Alden's response. Lily stayed close to him, learning the palace's layout, observing the soldiers, and understanding more about the alien clan's customs. She realized that even though she was human and small, she had a role in the unfolding events. She was a symbol of choice, of courage, and of change in a world that valued tradition above everything. One evening, as Lily and Alden stood on a balcony overlooking the palace gardens, she asked him quietly, "Why do you care so much about me? Why not just let the council decide?" Alden looked at her, his gaze steady and serious. "Because I cannot allow harm to come to someone who cannot defend herself. Because being king is not just about following rules, it is about doing what is right. You chose safety, and I will protect it. That is why I act." Lily felt tears prick her eyes. She had never known anyone with such strength and clarity. In a world filled with danger, Alden's presence made her feel safe and seen in a way she had never imagined. The night passed quietly, though the tension in the palace never fully eased. Lily understood that Draxon's schemes were not over. He would continue to try, and Alden would continue to defend. But she also understood something new. She was no longer powerless. Even as a human among powerful aliens, she had a role, and she could make choices that mattered. By the next morning, Lily felt a growing courage inside her. She had survived attacks, observed strategy, and learned to trust a king in a world that seemed designed to frighten her. She knew that the days ahead would be dangerous, but she also knew that she would not face them alone. Alden entered the chamber as she prepared for the day. "We have information that Draxon is planning a larger attack," he said calmly. "We must remain alert. But do not fear. You will not face it alone." Lily nodded. "I'm ready," she said softly, feeling a new strength within herself. "I will do what I can." Alden's eyes softened. "That is all I ask." Courage comes in many forms. Yours is already proving itself. As the sun rose over the palace, Lily looked out at the grounds, at the soldiers preparing for the coming challenge, and at the alien clan's banners fluttering in the morning breeze. She realized that she had begun to understand this world not fully, but enough to survive and to stand with Alden. And for the first time since her arrival on Varian, she felt hope that was more than just a fragile thought. It was growing, strong and steady, like the heartbeat of the king who had chosen to protect her. And the courage she had found within herself,